Okay, so the first thing we're going to do is go over the pieces, and the first piece you're going to need is number 4 for the neckline elastic guide. And then the next piece is going to be number 5, which is the armhole elastic guide. And then we have number 3, which is the sleeves of the piece. That's going to be 2 pieces. And then we have piece number 10, which is the actual body of the outfit, and it's going to be cut on the fold. And next we have number 9, which is the other piece of the body of the dress, and that's also cut on the fold. And the next piece we have is number 8, and this is going to be the little ruffle around the bottom. You're cutting 2 of those on the fold. You can see I have 2 here. They're just laying on top of each other. Okay, so the first step to putting this dress together is to take the back and front body pieces, or bodice, I guess you'd call it, and you're going to lay them with right sides facing together, lining up everything, making sure normally you would cut those little notches. I just never do that. It throws me off, especially with this material, because it frays a lot. But you're going to sew down each side of the dress, just on the sides, and constructing the dress. After you have the dress together, you can lay that aside and you get the sleeve pieces, and what we're going to do is fold them over with the right sides facing together, and I'm only going to sew down the side, and I'm going to do that with each sleeve. You can see I've got the sleeves constructed, and now what we need to do is cut out the elastic using the elastic guide. This guide is just as it says, it's just a guide. You may need to shorten or even lengthen the elastic pieces. I'm going by the guide just for the sake of the video. So the next thing I want to do is I need to sew a casing for that elastic for the sleeves. So I'm going to take it over to my machine, and I remove the free arm, as you can see. I'm going to fold over just about an inch, probably 2/3 of an inch, not quite an inch. I'm going to sew all the way around, just leaving a small opening for inserting the elastic. So now I'm just going to take a safety pin, and I'm going to pin the elastic into the safety pin, and I'm going to use the pin as the piece to feed that elastic through the casing that I created on each sleeve. And once I do that, I will sew the elastic together, and then I'll go in and okay, so now what I want to do is attach the sleeves to the body of the dress, and I'm going to line up those curvatures that you'll see. Once you put this into practice, you'll see that everything just lines up as it should. So I'm lining up the side seams of the sleeves, the underarms of the sleeves, and the side seams of the dress actually. And I'll just put a little pin in those seams to pin them open, and I usually like to start sewing in the middle and then work my way up so that I know that the middle matches, but I'm going to go all the way around that sleeve, and you can see that's done. Okay, so now I'm going to make a casing for the elastic for the neckline. I'm going to do that all the way around, pretty much the same way I did with the sleeves. So there's our casing all done, and now I just need to feed the elastic through that the same way that I did with the sleeves. I'm going to use the elastic guide to cut the piece out, and then I'm going to take a pin and pin that piece of elastic to it, and I'm going to feed it through the neckline, sew everything up, and then I'll be done with that part of the dress. Okay, so you can see I've got the neckline all done. Now we can lay the dress aside, and we're going to work on the bottom ruffles. And what I'm going to do first is take each end of the ruffle and sew it together because it's going to go all the way around the dress. So I'm just going to sew the side seams, and once that is done I can start working on connecting it to the dress, and I'm going to do that with right sides facing together. So I'm turning the dress right side out, and we're going to lay that ruffle upside down in there. You know, you don't want it hanging like it would be once it's complete. You want the top side of the ruffle to be on the bottom side of the dress, and we're lining up the side seams. Okay, so I pinned the side seams together, and for this part I'm using a double threaded needle, and what I'm doing is I'm sewing through the ruffle itself. I'm not sewing the ruffle to the body of the dress. I'm doing about 3/4 of an inch apart with each stitch, and that's just to my liking. If you want your ruffles to be a little more gathered, you can do smaller stitches. This is a loose stitch, it's not permanent. Once I have it gathered and I sew the ruffle to the dress, I'll pull this black string out, and I usually do this on one side of the dress at a time. Once I've got one side done with the ruffle connected to the dress, then I'll flip it over and I'll do the other side. It just makes it easier. You're going to get all caught up in strings and everything if you don't do it that way. Anyway, I'm going to finish both sides of this, connect the ruffle to the dress, and it will be done. See me struggling to get the entire dress in the video. I tried to get my little granddaughter to model it. She just wasn't having it, but that's okay. We still get the idea. I think it turned out pretty nice. And that's it. Peace, y'all. Bye-bye.